Natascha. Dass ich mich da jedes Mal, ich bin wieder da.
Did you speak to her? By the look on your face, I'm assuming you've come to understand the Wonder Medicine all too well.
Wenn die das Zeug verkauften, sind teuflisch. Diese Medizinverkäufer nutzen unsere Schwäche aus. Sind teuflisch.
Be it Vash or the Mutual Aid Society, forces like that can take full advantage of the typical underworld state of mind. Let me tell you a story. There was once a brilliant overworld doctor with unmatched pharmaceutical skill. The doctor was set on developing a medicine that would steel the human body against the cold. He named his research project Blizzard Immunity. But his research met with obstruction time and time again, the biggest factor being a lack of test subjects. Tampering with the human immune system carries huge risk, and nobody in the overworld was willing to submit themselves to such experiments. As such, the doctor got in touch with his sister in the underworld, claiming that he wanted to support the medical effort below ground. Naturally, his sister was overjoyed. After all, as far as medicine was concerned, her brother had always been the standard she'd strive to attain. She brought her brother underground and entrusted him with her clinic and laboratory. I think you know what comes next.
Es tut mir leid, dass ich dich vorher angezweifelt habe. Es ist schwer zu glauben, dass er dein Bruder war.
Issuing free medicine to the needy was just Vash's way of conducting experiments on his test subjects. On some level, his reagents were able to alleviate the patient's suffering, but nothing more. They would forget their pain for a while and neglect their regular treatment plans. The result? Patients with mild illness would attribute their recovery to the so-called Wonder Medicine, while patients with serious illness would quickly deteriorate, and sometimes die. I cannot accept that their fate was simply the result of misfortune or risk. No true doctor would accept that. That's why I want you to help me recover all the Wonder Medicine. Are you willing to take on this assignment?
Nicht unbedingt meine bevorzugte Vorgehensweise. Jemand muss das Richtige tun.
Thank you.
Ungestümer Trailblazer?
This will be hard for the people that have come to rely on the Wonder Medicine. But it's up to us to remove this false hope. You mustn't hesitate. Recover every last reagent that Vash left behind. I'll take responsibility for the consequences. Don't worry about that. Go. I'll be waiting for the good news.
Was war das jetzt? Wähle 5-mal eine ungestüme Dialogoption. Ungestüm? Was war da als ungestüm? Ich habe keine Ahnung. Das war doch eine normale Antwort. Ich mach das. So in der Richtung. Hey Boys, was geht? Ich hau euch jetzt auf die Fresse.
Stop right there. No one's allowed up ahead.
Gib mir das Wundermittel.
Oh, playing the hero, are we? Is this a stick-up? Wait a minute, you're that clinic woman's lackey, aren't you? Did you think the Mutual Aid Society didn't have its own intel? She's after our medicine and sent you here to smash the place, right? Men, look lively and send this idiot packing already.
Ja, als ob ihr irgendeine Chance hättet, Mann.
I've no interest in conflict.
Oh, die halten sogar was aus.
Told you
Zum
I could
Teil.
fight.
Hide.
Und tschüss.
That, Clara.
Oh ja, das war ein Haufen
Stars
Verstärkung.
will always remember us.
Das ist es schon. Gesell, der Medizin-Experiment Nummer markiert ist. Das muss das Wundermittel sein, die Gesellschaft für gegenseitige Hilfe gesprochen hat. Hörst du hinter dir Schritte?
Well, look who we have here. Your reputation precedes you, outsider. I didn't take you for a bandit and a thief.
Wer bist
You
du?
listen here. I'm the president of the Complex Illness Mutual Aid Society. The medicine we hold here is lifeblood for many of our members. Are you sure you want to deprive them of that? Those poor patients. Along comes a life-saving wonder medicine only to be snatched away by a shameless bandit like you. The underworld is full of sickness. What would happen if we left it all to that clinic to treat? My mutual aid society has relieved that doctor of patients at the end of the road. Shouldn't she be thanking me?
Natascha würde einen Patienten niemals aufgeben und sie würde nie mit einem Hochstapler wie dir zusammenarbeiten.
Seems like you are quite bent on dismantling our operations, aren't you? Fine, seeing as you came all this way, it'd be rude not to give you the opportunity. Men, seize the medicine thief.
Yeah, das hat ja gerade schon so gut funktioniert.
Fighting is meaningless.
Aber hey,
Gotta try hard
ich will euch nicht
to watch
aufhalten.
this awesome
Versucht, was ihr
move.
wollt.
Too late to repent.
Who will it be? I need to be brave.
Annihilate.
Und jetzt?
Blast it! What did we ever do to you? Why are you taking away our moneymaker?
Moneymaker? So you admit it then? You're not in this to save lives, you're in it to get rich.
What are you doing here? Oh, as if we didn't have enough trouble already.
Selling fake medicine with false kindness. You should have expected trouble to find you sooner or later. I have a responsibility to protect the well-being of my patients. Or to put it another way, I must eradicate any and all threats to them.
You can't save everyone. The underworld is teeming with sickness. How could you possibly pull it off?
You're right. I can't save everyone alone. But if I must, I would sacrifice food and sleep to treat them. The debt that Vash owes to the underworld rests with me. All I can do is help everyone to the best of my ability. To the...
So stubborn. In that sense, you're no different from your crazy brother.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Your actions today have saved many underworld families.
Gerne.
I'll find a way to dispose of Vash's leftover reagents. Next time the Mutual Aid Society wants to whip up a quack cure, they'll be out of luck. Let's go back to town. I still owe those patients an explanation.
Ja, du hast mich ruhig mitnehmen können. Ups, falscher Knopf. Dass ich das überhaupt einsetzen kann.
Can you see the stars from here too?
Ja, passt schon.
It looks like the patients have surrounded Natasha. Let's hear what they're saying.
Sie haben sie umringt, die ganzen zwei. Eine alte Frau und ein Typ, der denkt, er ist so halb schon fast tot.
What are you saying, Doctor? The wonder medicine is out of supply?
Correct. That medicine is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Wildfire has cut off the supply chain. Your ailments need rational, scientific treatment. Relying on pseudo-medicines will only worsen your condition.
Rational and scientific, huh? The way I see it, you're just jealous you lost your patients.
How dare you speak to Dr. Natasha like that? Where are your manners?
Genau, gib's die Alte.
Man,
gib's
please, think for a moment. How can you still be siding with her? That wonder medicine was working fine for us, and now it's gone because she wants it to be? How can she...
I understand your anger, but as your doctor, I ask you to trust my judgment. I will find a way to access more medical resources and help you through your struggles. If I must, I'll get help from the surface.
The surface. I almost forgot that you were an overworld big shot.
Doch, jetzt geht das weiter.
Have some respect for Dr. Natasha.
If it's respect she wants, she better find a replacement for the Wonder medicine fast. If not, I'll tell everyone about how she set up Dr. Vash. I'm out of here.
Was für ein Wichser. Oh, was ist denn da passiert? Ja, hör mal auf, immer das zu sagen, Ned. Sind ich sie auch schon, Ned?
Oh, you're here. I apologize. That must have made for uncomfortable viewing.
Ne, war ganz witzig. Geht's dir gut? Ich würde das
Okay.
groß mal selbst gerade drücken.
If I were in his shoes, I may well have had the same reaction. Now I need to focus on treating the patients and dispelling their doubts. Let's leave it for now. I'll feel a lot better once I've gotten rid of this mess that Vash left us. Now's as good a time as any to tell you Vash's whole story.
Will ich auch hoffen.
If there's anything you want to know, don't hesitate to ask.
Waren wir die Blutsverwandt?
No, but I used to think we were so close that we may as well have been. I actually grew up in the orphanage. It wasn't until I was adopted by an overworld family that life changed for me. My adoptive mother always saw me as her own flesh and blood, and Vash loved me like a sister. That is, while we were still young. My adoptive parents belonged to a prominent medical family. As kids, we were exposed to all kinds of medical texts. When we were older, both of us got straight into Belobog's medical school. We were on a path into the medical profession.
Was für eine Person war Worsch?
He was gentle and introverted. But when it came to work, he could be absurdly obsessive, like a completely different person. Whenever I made a mistake in an experiment, he'd bite my head off. And then a while later, he'd apologize and comfort me. He was conflicted in that way.
Du wusstest doch die ganze Zeit, dass er es war, der den Leuten hier die Medizin überlassen hat?
I didn't know he had leftover reagents in Rivet Town. I was shocked when you told me. If you fail to make a clean break with the past creeps up on you.
Ist er wirklich verschieden?
That's a long story. Ever since he was little, Vash had always wanted to develop a medicine called blizzard immunity. He saw the human body's vulnerability to cold as a disease, and wanted to cure it so that humanity could survive the eternal freeze. If he succeeded, people would be able to leave Belobog and rebuild their homes in the snow plains.
Ja, ist ja nicht so, als ob es nur die Kälte ist, Alter. Wenn dich halt eine Lawine erfasst oder so, ist die Sache mit der Kälte auch ziemlich für den Arsch. Glaubst du, still sein?
I do admire his vision and perseverance, even though blizzard immunity always seemed unachievable to me. I knew his research in the overworld wasn't going well. I used to write to him and ask him to come down and stay with the kids in the orphanage for a while. I thought it might help take his mind off his research. But I was too young to know what long-term frustration could do to a person. It changed him in a terrible way.
Schreckliche Auswirkungen?
During his stay in the underworld, he met patients affected by fragmentum corrosion with mild symptoms. Compared with non-patients, their bodies reacted differently to hot and cold. And that fascinated Vash. He began to simulate mild fragmentum corrosion, thinking that it could lead to breakthroughs in developing blizzard immunity. Those reagents of his aren't cure-alls for critical illness. That doesn't exist. Vash made the reagents to mitigate the suffering of his patients in the short term. A convenient way for him to observe changes in his test subjects. But behind my back, he had been doling out the reagents to residents who were kept in the dark. when it finally struck me that something was wrong. His terrible research had already turned him into a madman.
Und die ganze Zeit über war dir nichts Merkwürdiges aufgefallen? Er hat den letzten Rest seiner Menschlichkeit verloren?
Indeed. And it all happened under my nose.
Ah, scheiße, sorry.
How ridiculous. My judgment was clouded by trust in a loved one.
Ja, das ist das Problem, also du vertraust halt denen, die du kennst.
When his experiments were exposed, I spent a long time with Oleg discussing how to handle the aftermath. This was shortly before the underworld was sealed off. There were hardly any Silvermane guards remaining. We spent ages trying to find a way to handle Vash. In the end, Oleg suggested that we banish him and permanently deny him access to the underworld. Had his victims found out the truth, Vash would have been torn to pieces by furious underworlders. I was young and weak at the time. Oleg must have worried about how I'd react to such a scenario, or he wouldn't have suggested banishment.
Verbann ist keine besonders harte Strafe, ihr habt beides Richtige getan.
I hope so. The day I learned the truth was the day I no longer recognized my brother. Oleg and I took Vash to the overworld. He made his final request to us. To take him outside the city to the snow plains he'd always wanted to conquer. His figure gradually disappeared into the snow curtain. I've been telling myself that Vash is dead ever since. Forgive me. I'm not good at telling stories. Vash was a terrible brother and a worse doctor. That's all you need to know. Let's call it a day. Thank you for cleaning up the mess my brother left behind. Here, for your trouble.
Suche nach dem Ursprung des Medikaments. Harter Tobak, ey. Universum-Simulation Teil 2, Echo des Krieges, Blutenkelch. Alter, ich habe Echo des Krieges ausprobiert, auf 40, ey, der reißt dir ja den Arsch auf, das Drachenviech vom Anfang. Hooks Schatz. 100, 250, 250. Ja, komm, mach mal einen Hookies Schatz. Geschichten vom Schmelzofen. Achso, ja, der ist ja gleich vor der Tür. Tut mir leid. Ich kenne mich noch nicht so gut mit den Dingen aus, könntest du bei Gelegenheit zur Klinik kommen. Es gibt ein paar persönliche Dinge. Kein Problem, ich komme sofort. Danke, wenn man eine organisierte Wildfeuer leitet, vergisst man leicht, dass jeder Mann jemanden braucht, auf den er sich verlassen kann. Danke, dass du mir dieses Gefühl gibst. Alles klar, scheiß auf Hook. Ich kann mich nicht daran gewöhnen, dass er eine Sie ist. Du wolltest mich was fragen.
Can I talk to you for a moment? I have a favor to ask. Something rather personal.
Wurscht? Natürlich nett.
I want to thank you again for recovering the Wonder medicine. It meant a lot to me. But disposing of Vash's reagents isn't enough to solve the medical supply shortage. Many of my patients can't be seen promptly, and my stock of medicine is running low. Thanks to you, the route to the overworld through the furnace core has reopened. I'd like to use it to return to the surface and see if I can get some help.
Wenn du Erholungsmedikamente brauchst, habe ich einige in meiner Tasche. Hilfe von wem?
I knew you'd be interested. Remember my adoptive parents I mentioned to you a while ago? After the reopening of the furnace core passage, I had an idea. I wrote a letter and asked Sampo to deliver it to my parents' old address. I didn't have high hopes, but amazingly, Sampo brought me my mother's reply.
Sampo tut etwas Gutes, ein seltenes Ereignis.
That's exactly what I thought when I got her letter. Mom said they still live at the old house, but they're not working on the front lines anymore. They should still have some connections in the medical school and the hospital, though. If I'm lucky, maybe I can convince them to send extra medical supplies to the underworld. Of course, that's not the only reason for me to go back to the surface. I can't wait to visit my parents again. And I can tell from my mom's letter that they feel the same. If possible, I would like you to go with me.
Die Stimme war jetzt nicht richtig abgemischt, oder?
Wonderful. That's such a relief. I've sent another letter to my mom telling her to find us near Fountain Plaza. Don't worry, I know my way around the administrative district.
Immunität gegen Schneesturm. Oh, es geht weiter. Ah. Oh, ist der Worsch daheim? Das könnte böse jetzt werden. Oh, ich bin gespannt.
Can you see the stars from here too?
Ach, das ist die Natascha. Das hat sich schon... Jetzt bin ich gespannt. Untersuchen? Egal. Natascha, nett.
This place doesn't seem to have changed much from what I remember. Oh, there you are. Sorry, I got distracted watching the crowds.
Du hast auf den Brunnen geschaut, da sind keine Leute drin.
Look at the busy flow of people. Life in the overworld carries on as usual, as if nothing has happened. We're a little early. I've got an idea. I want to buy my mom a gift. You're more of an overworld local than I am now. Any suggestions?
Blume vom Ewigsamer Blumengeschäft. Wie wäre das mit einem Theaterstück im Goldenen Theater? Zur Nimmerwinter Werkstatt. Wie wäre das mit einem Blumen vom Nimmerwinter Werkstatt?
Workshop? I'm not too sure about. Oh, yes. I remember there was a
Verdammt.
florist in the overworld.
Ich wollte es selber.
How about we head over that way? I've been underground for so long, I almost forgot what flowers smell like.
Erste Blume riechst. Oh, die riechen nach Pups. Es gibt welche, die echt schlimm riechen. Ich kann mir das nicht abgewöhnen. Ich kann es mir nicht abgewöhnen, jetzt nachdem ich am Wochenende wieder mehr, oder beziehungsweise ich spiele es ja gerade am Sonntag. Na gut, eigentlich ist es nachts am Montag. Dieses Springen und Fliegen wollen, das geht mir nicht im Kopf rein, ey, weil der Style ist halt einfach zu ähnlich aus. So, ich meine, klar, die schauen jetzt hier ein bisschen erwachsen aus wie in Genshin. Oder ein bisschen größer. Aber so dieses Wollen zu laufen und zu springen und fliegen, ich krieg das nicht weg, ey.
Eversummer? Was that always the name? Seems I was too young to get the irony back then. Sorry. I don't mean to sound cynical. Maybe it simply represents the people's hopes up here. Now that I think about it, sending flowers is quite the tradition in my family. Mom, Dad, Vash, and I, whenever something good happened, we sent each other flowers to celebrate. Do you want to hear a flower story?
Gerne. Was war die Lieblingsblume deiner Mutter?
Each year for their anniversary, my dad would send my mom a bouquet of ball peonies wrapped in red paper. I heard that ball peonies represent love that knows no end. It does.
Ups. Vater?
My father is a famous surgeon in Belobog. Because of his fame, people in medical circles paid great attention to his surgeries. He always had a lot of stress to deal with. And each time he finished a tricky operation, my mom and I would buy a single stem of sunshine and then pin it on the chest pocket of his apron. Sunshines represent warmth and love of light. For patients on the verge of death, my dad might have been the only light to penetrate the darkness around them.
Lieblingsbuch von Worsch?
Vash. Out of everyone in my family, I think he probably appreciated flowers the least. Still, I remember the day he received his offer from the medical academy. My parents took me to the florist, and we bought him the most expensive marquise stem in the shop. When we gave him the flower, he failed to hide his smile. You can't imagine how hard it was to get him to smile.
Also es waren Pfingst irgendwas, Sommer irgendwas und Markisen.
As an orphan, I never knew my birthday. My adoptive parents took me to the overworld and made the day I joined the family my birthday. And each year on that day, my parents would give me a bouquet of first snow. The number of stems represented how many years had passed since I joined the family. I only found out later that first snow represents beautiful memories. My parents gave me a beautiful childhood, and I still haven't had the chance to thank them for that.
Ich verstehe, sollen wir zum Blumengeschäft gehen? Wir sind da.
How do I know which ones to pick?
Bla bla bla. Welche Blumen soll ich für Natascha aussuchen? Pfingstrose.
Oh, ball peonies, is it? 1 second. I'll get it ready for you.
Was kann die Blumen für dich holt?
There you go. Sorry for the wait.
War doch das, was ihre Mutter mag.
All done? May I have a look? Ball peonies. Nice pick. I wonder if Dad still sends Mom flowers on their anniversary. I knew you'd pick the right flowers. Mom and Dad will be so happy. Let's go. My mom will be there soon. Best not to leave old folks waiting.
Ich bin mal gespannt.